Welcome to Simple Software Tutorials. In this video, I'm going to show you how to clean up and organize your files on your computer while teaching you some file and folder fundamentals. Now, this isn't going to be a traditional tutorial. I have a basic outline of things I'm going to cover, but I just kind of want to talk to you and walk you through the process of getting your files more organized and helping you understand the whole file hierarchy system in Windows. So what we're looking at right now is my desktop, and it might look a little bit like your desktop. You might have a bunch of files here. You might have a lot more. But basically what we're going to do is just go through and clean these up in an orderly manner. So just starting off looking at this, I wanted to just cover a couple things. So we talk about files. What is a file? A file is a it's a file. It's something that you have on your computer, like a Word document or a photo or a video file. That would be a file. Then there's apps or software programs. That would be like Google Chrome or um, ScreenPal, which I'm using right now, or PowerPoint. And then websites, web pages. That's when you go on the internet. This would be a website, and sometimes you can download content from here. So those are just some basic bits of information that helps you understand how all of this comes together. So next I want to talk about what folders and directories are. Okay, if you think about your kitchen and your cupboard and where you have your food stored, okay, you've got, maybe a pantry. You can open up that pantry. So you could consider your pantry or your cupboard like your file explorer here. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to open that up. So I have it saved right here, File Explorer. You can also click on Start. Mine's right here because I use it a lot. If you can't find it, you can always type in up here, File Explorer. And you want to look for this one that says System. Don't worry about these other things here. Or you can search down here if you've got a search bar. Type in File Explorer. And see, I even misspelled it, but it still knows what I'm looking for. So I'm just going to go ahead and click on that. And what this is this is like your file structure. So this is where all your things are stored, and you can create your own system in here of how you want to store things. So instead of having kind of a chaotic setup here where you can't find anything, you don't know what these things are, you can create your own system for how you want to organize things and what makes the most sense to you. So by default, we're going to have a few things here. We're going to have desktop. So if I click on that, that's going to show me all these things that I have on my desktop. And we can see the file name. We can see when it was last modified, what the file type is. So PNG, that would be images, Microsoft Excel, that's a worksheet. We have shortcuts. We have all sorts of things. And then the size. Then we have downloads. So when you save something off the internet, so say I'm on this cool page here, maybe I want to download this file here. So I click on File, Download, and PowerPoint. So I want to download this. And so you can see up here, it's showing me that I'm downloading something. I can click on this, and that'll show me the folder. Or I can click on this, and it's going to open it in PowerPoint. But if I click on this, the downloads, I'm going to put this back over here. I click on downloads, I'm going to see this here. And you might see everything you've ever downloaded here, depending on how often you clean this out. So the download folder isn't always the best place to keep things, just because it doesn't let you organize them how you want to. And sometimes things get deleted out of your downloads. Things don't always stay there. So it's better to move them out of there. So I'm going to click on this, and to move it out, you just click. So left mouse button, click, hold, drag, and I'm going to drop it on my desktop. Then you have your documents. That's where documents might get stored by default, depending on what program you're using. Pictures, where your pictures are saved. Music, if you have any music files. And videos. Those are some pretty standard files that you're going to see here. And then there's also, if you're connected to Microsoft OneDrive, that will be right here. So if I click on OneDrive, it's going to open that up. Now, the cool thing about storing things in your OneDrive is that that saves it to the cloud. And that means that not only can I access it on this computer, but if I have the OneDrive app on my phone, I can access it from there. If I'm at a friend's house and I need to get something while I'm on their computer, I can log into my OneDrive and I can access it there. Um, if my computer dies and I can't use it anymore, the files are all saved in an online area, a secure online area where I can easily access them. So it's just a really handy way to do it. And it is built right into most modern computers these days. So take a look and see if you have that right there. Now, something you may or may not have noticed is that this looks a lot like a web browser, like when I'm on the internet. You can see we have basically an address bar here. We've got, back and forward. We have up, which is a little different. Up just means you're moving up these what are called breadcrumbs. So as you dig further into files, you're going to see each layer show up here. So back to that pantry analogy, your file explorer is kind of like your pantry, and these are the things in it. So you might see a basket with some things in it, or you might see a box of macaroni, and you'll see the box first, and then within the box is the macaroni. So it's an analogy of how this works. So consider the file explorer kind of like your pantry, and the things that you put in it are going to be in different layers depending maybe on how they're packaged. Like food's packaged, but you're going to have your folders. So let's start organizing. I'm going to slide this over. So see how it changes there? I can shrink it down a little bit. So I'm just going to slide that over there. So the first thing I'm going to do is I want to take a look at what's on my desktop here. So there's a lot of things. So let's, we just pick one, maybe start at top left. So you can see anything with these arrows on it like this. See, we've got Google Chrome has that. Google Chrome is it's an app, it's a software program. I've got the C cleaner here that has that same arrow. This has the arrow. What that means is that this is a shortcut. So it's a shortcut to Google Chrome or a shortcut to C Cleaner. It's not the actual program. It's just a way that I can click on that and I can get to it a little quicker. So because these are shortcuts, I can actually delete them if I don't want them on here. If I do, I can drag them down here. And so maybe I want to set that right there. And that's going to create a shortcut here. So I can just click on this and I can open this program. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to click on this, and I can press the delete button on my keyboard, or I can right click and I can choose delete. Something else that's kind of fun is, so if I want to get this off my desktop too, I can left click, drag and drop. So left click, hold, drop it in my recycle bin. Same with this. I already have this pin down here, so that's going in the recycle bin. And then we'll put that down there, but then we'll also drag that to the recycle bin. So I think that covers all of those programs I have right here. So that cleaned up the desktop a little bit. That's just deleting shortcuts off your desktop. So now what I want to do is I want to start organizing my content. So just like you might organize things in your pantry, you might put cans on a certain shelf, or put your chips up higher. You've got a bigger area, you're going to put them there. You can organize your files a similar way. So I'm actually going to organize mine in my OneDrive. If you don't have a OneDrive, you can store them in any of these places here. So I'm going to basically replicate what you might do in these folders here. So I have my OneDrive, and see I have my documents here. I have pictures, videos, or I can just create a whole new one. So to create a new folder, you can click on New and Folder. You can right click in here and click on New and then select Folder. So before I start creating folders though, I kind of want to take a look at what I have here. So I have some images, I have a video, I've got some random documents here. So this is a great starting place to kind of figure out what do I have. Before you start making folders, it makes more sense to see what you need and then create that versus create something that you're not sure that you actually need. So I see, let's see, what do we have here? Okay, so we have a cat. We got cat picture. I named it images. Images, that's not a very good name because if I'm looking for cat pictures, I'm not going to search for the word images. So I'm going to go ahead and rename this. So you can either click, don't do a double click, just do 2 slow clicks. So click on it once, then a second time slowly. And you see it'll turn to blue. It's highlighting everything. That's one way to change the name. And then I can just type in here and change it to 2 cats. And then I'm going to hit enter. So there's that one. And then here's another picture. There's 2 more cats named Community Cats Copy. That, that's a little better, but still not a great name. So I'm going to show you another way to rename this. So right click on the file and then click on rename. So I'm just going to type 2 more cats. Okay, so now I'm going to click on my pictures folder and I have some of my logo stuff in here. So I'm going to create a new folder. I'm going to click on new folder and I'm going to title it cat pics because that's what's going to go in here. Now I can double click on that and open it. I'm going to click on that, drag it in there, click on this, drag it in there, and now these are stored in my pictures folder. And see, here's what I was telling you before, these are called breadcrumbs. So if I want to go back to my OneDrive, I can click here, I can navigate back, say I'm in cat pics, which is in pictures, which is in my OneDrive here. I can also click up. That's so I go up a directory level here. So I have some other images in here. These just have some numbers. So I'm going to click on this, open this, and this is all fictional information. I just downloaded this as a template, just so you know. So this is an invoice. So maybe I'm going to go into my documents, double click that. I'm going to create a folder in here and I'm just going to call this invoices. Now I did myself a disservice by just naming this 001. Now if we look at this, I did that because that's the invoice number. But what I might want to do is rename that. So right click, rename. I'm going to leave that there. I like leaving invoice numbers for whatever reason, so I might name it, it's medical assistant invoice. And I didn't catch a date on this, but it's August right now, so I'm just going to put 08/2026 to say that this is an invoice from this month and this year. I'm going to hit enter. So then I'm going to drag and drop this into my invoices folder. And then I have another one. So again, another fictional invoice. And if it's too overwhelming for you to think of file names and do all of that right now, I know this is an invoice. I'm just going to drag it in there. I can deal with that later if I want to, but at least that way I know that all of these are in my invoice folder. Okay, so now I have that PowerPoint template. That's a 60, 90-day plan. So I think I'm going to leave that in documents. So maybe I'm going to create a folder called presentations. I'll show you another way to get it in there. You can right click on it, click on cut, click in your folder, right click, and paste. So that way you're cutting and pasting it in there. I have another presentation down here that I have so cleverly called product. Again, this is just a template that I downloaded, but that's not a very good name for it. So what I can do here is while I'm in this, I can click on Save As. Now I can browse, and I want to click on my OneDrive, or if you're using files down here, you can click on whichever one makes the most sense. I'm going to click on, I'm going to make a new folder in here. Let's say this is for a work project. I'm going to click on New Folder, and I'm just going to call it Work Stuff. And I'm just going to title this Product Presentation. And I like to include the month and year just so I have an idea of when this was from, because as I add more files, it's going to start building up. So this helps me at least know when I created this file. Also, it's really handy for versioning. So say I update this in October, I can update the date to 10/2026, and that lets me know that, hey, I created the original presentation in August, and then this is the newest one that I created in October. So I'm going to click Save, close that. So if I go back to my OneDrive, I'll see my work stuff folder. There it is there. But you know what? I did save as, so there's still a copy here. So I'm just going to dump this in the trash can. Now this file just named August. It's a spreadsheet. Again, fictional data. I just downloaded a budget template. So this is a fictional budget here. So naming it August probably wasn't a great idea. So I'm just going to close this. I'm going to go to my documents. I'm going to create one called maybe Finances. And I rushed through that. So I created the folder and then I hit enter again. Since it's selected, I can hit enter to open it, or I can double click it. So I'm going to rename this, named it budget, drag it into my finances folder. And so I can continue doing that for the rest of these files here, just going through them, creating things. Now, something that you could do if you just want to clear up your desktop, you don't want to deal with it right now, but you need to. Something that I've done in the past, I try not to do it so much anymore, but just to clear up your space, I add a folder. So right click and click on New Folder, and I just call it Temp. So that means it's temporary. Anything I put in there is something I'm going to need to deal with. So I can drag these things in there, and drag and drop all the rest of these in there and deal with them at a later time. Now, one thing I want to show you is zipping and unzipping files. It's maybe not so common anymore since we have so many options for online storage of content. For my software tutorials site, I have a whole Google Drive that I share. I have a link right from my website where I share all of my content here with you. And so I don't really need to use zip functionality anymore. But what zipping is it's a way of compressing files so they're smaller and they're easier to send, typically by email. And so a way you can do that, so say I want to send all of these files to somebody. What I can do is I can select all of them, see how I'm highlighting them, or I can Control A to select all, or I can click on, maybe I want to just send a few of them, click on one, hold Control while I click. So this one, this one, this one, there. So say I want to just send those ones. It doesn't matter. Whatever files you want to send, you can select them. And then right click on them. And then we'll click on Compress to Zip File. So now what this does, see there's a little, it's really small, but you can see there's a little zipper on that file there, and it's going to give it a name. It gave it the name of the first file I put in there. So I'm just going to call this zipped files. So I'll put that there. So say we're going to just go into download. So say you download, somebody sent you, somebody you know, don't just go unzipping files from somebody you don't know. But if you get a zip file or you sent, maybe you wanted to email some files from one computer to another, this is a way you can do it. You can zip them. So it's got them compressed in here. It's a compressed folder. So that just means it makes it smaller. I'm not I'm not positive how it does it, but it makes it smaller. It squishes out any unnecessary stuff, I guess. So what you can do is click extract all. This will ask you where you want to extract them to. And so you can change if you want to put it in some other folder, or you can just have it extracted into, since this is my downloads, I can have it extract there. And then I always like to check this box here. So that way it shows me the files when it's complete. Otherwise, if this is not checked, then I'm just left where I am and I might not be able to find it. So I can click extract. And so what it does now is it opens up these files nicely. So I have my zipped files that I downloaded, and then I have this folder where they got extracted to, and then this is the open folder with those files in it. So it might not be something that you need to use very often, but it is something handy. Now, one more reason for naming your files something that's easy to find is because you can search for it that way. So say I'm in my OneDrive, I don't remember where I saved my budget file. So what I can do is I can search here for budget, and there it is. Now if I make this a little bigger, I can see where I saved it. So, oh, it's in Documents, Finances. I can go into Documents, Finances, and there it is. So that's just reinforcement for naming your files something that's easy for you to remember so you can easily search for it later. And lastly, if your recycle bin is full, right click, empty recycle bin, and that's it. So hopefully that helps you get a lot more organized.
I hope this was helpful. Subscribe for more tutorials and visit simplesoftwaretutorials.com for step-by-step guides and free resources. Thanks for watching.